In the bottom left, our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. First match of him in the Korean Royale. I believe he's the only player we've yet to see. Dare I say, saving the best till last because I'm a ByuN fanboy. It's ByuN in the bottom left-hand corner of Raw Blood. Top right, our blue Zerg will be Solar. He will be trying to stay away from some nukes today. So we have two TvZs to round the day out, guys. It's going to be ByuN versus Solar, followed by ByuN versus Ragnarok. So those matches both still to come. Get those going very, very soon. We'll see ByuN Solar to start with, and see what kind of stuff comes out of these two. ByuN's been really good lately, you know? I really feel like ByuN's been consistently at like a very high level, and especially in TvZ, he's being very deadly with a lot of timings and just able to kind of get across the map quickly and early and, you know, really hit just strong kind of timings in general, so. Overlord. Heading down the bottom left-hand side, a couple of refineries coming up as a racks and a command center come into play. So it is going to be that CC first to start off with from ByuN, a little bit more of the eco-focus to begin with here. And the WardiTV Korean Royale Day 1 on Group B. Is ByuN Solo going to go on the YouTube? Maybe, if it is. You might think YouTube, I'm about to tell you to like and subscribe, but I'm not. I'm actually going to say check the comments section and check out the crowdfunding page. If you enjoy the WardiTV Korean Royale uploads, check out the crowdfunding page, support, and help us make more seasons of this. I was literally just talking about this outside of the game before this. I was like, maybe ByuN Solo would actually be a game we put on YouTube, so that could work. So there we go. There's me making my statement. 2 racks behind this. Obviously, ByuN does love a bit of 2-1-1. And especially off of ACC first, a 2-1-1 is actually really powerful. It packs such a punch. It's just so freaking good, I honestly. It's so freaking good. So, yeah, it's just so scary to play against as well because you've got the economy being strong from the Terran player, and you've got that very deadly timing potentially if the Berserk doesn't respond correctly. There's a lot of potential in it, and ByuN loves to try and utilize the potential in those builds, so. Overlord's going to begin to move out on the map. Couple queens setting up. Speed will be starting from Solar here, so just get that going. And a few more drones coming into production as well. Let's see our factory about to finish up from ByuN in the main base. So factory finishes, starport starts, get the reactor going, and everything kind of moving along as it should do for 2-1-1. This build is so, you know, the parts of this build are so figured out, the process of this build is so well figured out at this stage. As our stem is going to be halfway done. And Solo just getting link speed. Solo doesn't even have that much information right now. Oh. Yeah, okay, never mind, guys. He still has all the information right now. He knows exactly what's up. But there's just a Ling. Yeah, just Ling walked up and actually got to see everything. So Solo has full info as to what's going on. Perfect. Well, that's good because that means he can obviously respond correctly, appropriately, and put himself in good positions here. And just make sure he doesn't get caught with too few units or anything. And make sure he has the right amount of units at the right time specifically. It's very important in this, against this build. Because obviously, because it's 2-1-1, there's going to be an initial strong timing, but you can't overcommit to that because otherwise you can't deal with the follow-up timing. There's that knock-on effect that you just have to be very, very cautious of. So just watching these Lings nibble through some rocks. Marines will move out. When you play the CC first 2-1-1, the Marines obviously able to move out a little bit ahead of the medevacs popping. So we oftentimes do this just to try and clear anything out in the front. And then the medevacs join up. It just means the medevacs don't have to unload the Marines when you get across the map. You can see that the timing of the medevacs unloading would start. Say the medevacs start to unload now. Well, the Marines are already here. So on the shorter maps, actually just walking across with CC first 2-2-1 is somewhat viable. As we're going to find ourselves, well, queens that have to transfuse. We're going to kill a queen, going to kill 2. First few Zerglings finally showing up, taking a while though. And ByuN immediately just loads up, going to go in towards the main base and see what more trouble he can cause. It's going to be problematic though. He's going to lose a medevac of units almost definitely. Oh, he does go down. I was going to say, I thought it actually got away for a moment, but it does indeed fall. That's a big catch from Solar. He needs to get rid of that. He can't let that obviously, he can't let that happen. Because otherwise that would have been very bad for you. If one Marine still in the main gets a drone, and he does unload in the main base again with the medevac to get rid of the Overlord. Healings just run straight in, but the Marines are going to get lifted, evacuated, pulled away for the moment as the rest of our Queens set up just over on the sides. Another Crypt Tumor going down, and our Lings of Solar begin to press on forward. What does 2-1-1 mean? It's the name of this build because you go 2 barracks. So initially there's 3rd barracks in here. You go 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. It typically is a 445 leaving your base, 16 marine drop with 2 medevacs. On the back of a CC first, the timing is then a little bit different, but the general idea is you get stim and you go with 2 medevacs and 16 marines. You go off of 2 racks, 1 factory and 1 starport. And this now is going to turn into a 2-base all-in follow-up. 4th and 5th barracks have been built while just playing with no 3rd CC, so this does turn pretty much 2-base all-in right now. Only a single engineering bay too, also a great pointer that this is going to be a 1-base all-in because anything macro focus in TvZ oftentimes does just have the 2nd engineering bay. Double upgrades are not uncommon in this matchup. So yeah, when the single engineering bay is down, generally you're looking to put as many, resources as possible just into straight up unit production. And so more likely it's going to be this 2 bases. ByuN sits and fights here. He's got tanks to blow up the Banelings that are pretty much all clumped together, so none of these Banelings are going to do very well. And we target fire down the last one. The Marines don't have any tank support, but the tanks have done their job because they killed off the Banelings, and now the Marines can pretty much just do as they wish. An extra round of Marines and tanks coming across the map, and our Banelings, Zerglings, generally just going to keep on building, trying to go, but I feel like this is going to be a bit too much already from ByuN. 2 tanks continue to push up this ramp, and the Banelings will decide not to go forward just yet. But man, if the tanks are siege these bases, they're clumped up again, so we got to split these a little. Like, tanks are just being game-changing. They're just killing so many of the Banelings. GG's. You just can't have Banelings run into tanks when your opponent's 2-base all in you. Not like that. Like, you're going to take some tank shots, but if all of your Banelings are together... Suminations, thank you so much for the 11-month resub on the Prime, first of all. Thank you so much. It's funny, though, as well, because it's like, back in my day, target firing with tanks was, like, the really sick thing to do, right? It's like, oh, you target fired the Banelings with the siege tanks, he's so freaking good. And nowadays, we target fire, like, individual Banelings 2 or 3 at a time with Marines when they're rolling towards the Marines. It's like... I remember when just splitting against Banelings used to be good enough. And then Terran players realized they had to start doing better, so they had to start target firing Banes, and like, man, TvZ's evolution is kind of ridiculous. Like, the way in which, or the skill level at which this matchup has progressed is really quite incredible, right? TvZ has always been one of the most mechanical matchups, and I think overall probably the most mechanical matchup in StarCraft 2. And that obviously gives it kind of, a very high skill ceiling. That you really can just go and keep on improving, right? I mean, if you could be, if you could actually legitimately have 1500 APM at all times, there's so much you could do in this matchup compared to some of the others, right? There's always benefits to spreading creep. There's pretty much always benefits to not just spreading creep, but, being active with units on the map, dropping or run buying and stuff like that. Yeah. If you showed someone a game from today 10 years ago, it'd break the matrix. It would be crazy. Can you imagine if you have time travel? What would actually happen if we took a replay from today and took it back 10 years? And we're like, hey, look, this is how you have to play. And people are like, what? But would that mean that then, nowadays, SC2 would be better because we would have been playing at the higher level from an earlier point in time? Alexander Entke, thank you so much for the fresh new subscription as well. Welcome. And thanks so much for dropping by today. If you time traveled, I would break the universe. Don't try it. Okay. I won't then. That's road drone from Solar, dropping that down in the main base. So he's going to get aggressive here on Babylon. Not going to hold back in these early stages, apparently. Okay, do you guys reckon... Here's the thing. Do you guys reckon if we showed a Terran player replay from today, from 10 years ago, do you think they would start doing these crazy micro things? And they would have... You know what it was? They would have gotten nerfed, actually. I think they would have just gotten nerfed. Like, Terran would just get nerfed to in some way. Like, Marines can't retarget as quickly, or like... You know what I mean? Like, some Marines are actually quite bad against, like, Zerglings because... You know, they can't retarget quickly. Like, there's a delay in their retargeting because people are retargeting to Banelings, and it's just like, it's OP, Zergs can't do anything. And so instead, they nerf Marines, but they, like, buff Hellions or something, and now Hellions are the only way to deal with Lings or something. And the entire of StarCraft history is completely different. A 100% would have been nerfed, man. I mean, think about it, like, you know, if you think about it, back then, people used to play with Medivacs that was slow. Like, Medivacs didn't have boosts. Can you imagine trying to drop without boosts on your Medivacs nowadays? And people were like, when Medivacs got boosted, people were like, oh my god, this is insane, it's gonna break the game. And it actually just turns out that we actually needed boosts because people got so good at defending against drops, right? So it actually made drops, more viable again. As ByuN is playing extremely greedy, which is very ByuN. And he does have a clue that this was happening until these units walked into his natural, killed off a couple units, and I think we might just have a very underwhelming game number 2 here, guys, as ByuN trying to go into Marauder and Concussive Shells as a backup plan to try and get something out against this. He's called down a supply depot here as well. It's going to be a major supply block when he loses this. Another Corrosive Biology will get the job done. We don't put it on just yet as the Marines and Marauders are moving forward. Yep, supply block is painful. He does have one new depot building, but that depot won't even unsupply block him. It'll just bring him to... It'll bring him on like 47 out of 47 or something, or 46 out of 46, right? And now, now you have to wait for the next depot to finish before you can actually build again, although we are losing units, so I guess the production is continuing. There's a couple of Marauders, definitely decent against the Roaches, but I mean, there's just so much here from Solar, and ByuN was obviously scrambling his defense from nothing, and Solar's reinforcing too. He's not let up on the unit production. He knows that ByuN had no idea that this was happening, and this very quick all-in from Solar is going to turn out to be very effective. As our Ravages come through, Marine goes down, that Marauder being chased down. That's pretty much the last unit of ByuN, apart from what's in production right now. SCVs getting a little bit of a cuddle on these Ravages, but that is going to be GG's, and Solar will take a game 2 to tie us 1-1. Plus however much time he spends scouting, so probably about 100 minerals, yeah. Top left corner of the map, our red Terran play from the Shopify Rebellion. It's ByuN. This time he goes low ground depot. This has become very popular on this map. Low ground depot, barracks, and just multiple Reapers. Obviously ByuN loves doing this, but Maru's been doing this almost consistently on this map as well. And yeah, I wonder what it is about this map that they like it so much for Solar on the bottom right side. Because this map doesn't, to me, immediately strike me as like a, oh yeah, right? This is like a... the Reaper map. I guess it's because you have the exit path on the corner of the natural as well as just the escape at the front of the natural. Helps you to be active with the Reapers while having an escape strategy, so they're not going to get trapped in and stuck and, run into a whole bunch of problems. I imagine that's a pretty big factor. That's 2 whole Marines. Yeah, 100 minerals early though, right? Like, that early in the game, it just speeds up parts of your builds. It's not even necessarily like, oh, 2 extra Marines. It's building some part of your tech that little bit sooner, or building a production structure that little earlier, that then has that knock-on effect for the rest of the game as well, right? So... faster expansion? Yeah, exactly. It is the 2 barracks, sometimes... It could be 3. I say this because one time I was talking about how there's going to be 2 racks, and then freaking Maru just put down a 3rd barracks. He's like, screw you, Wardy. Watch me now. I think I was actually against Solar on this map in the qualifiers for this event. One's on YouTube if you want to check it out. A couple of Reapers are on the way, and yeah, just going to pressure initially. Obviously, this is the bad side of the map for the Reapers because the tech lab and reactor that will eventually build on these barracks will be on the exposed side. If they were on the other side, they would have been on the inside of the wall off, so it's just a little easier to protect them. In this case, it can sometimes get a little bit rougher. Reaper will get a couple of lings damaged, and obviously any damage on these lings right now is important because they're going to be susceptible to the extra Reapers showing up, and obviously low HP lings now means low HP lings later. Grenade goes down, and we do have the lings just going after the Reapers here, and the Reapers do get that escape, and that's, again, I think one of the reasons this map is good for the Reapers, because you have that escape route on the natural, so actually works pretty wonderfully. Just hop up, just get another ling, gonna hop back down. And so much of this is just controlling the map a little bit, being a little bit of an annoyance early on, forcing your opponent to make a few more lings. And that makes up for your investment into what will be a later command center here, compared to usual. Hop up, move in towards this natural again, and a couple more Zerglings go down once more. So again, good damage being dealt. Reapers move back to the middle of the map. Ling speed is coming through, going to be finishing very shortly. The couple of factories going down. Oh ho ho, ByuN's going to play some mech on the follow-up. That's very unlike ByuN. I guess Battle Mech's a bit more like ByuN's style. It's kind of like Clem. When Clem plays mech, he plays Battle Mech, and Battle Mech is a bit more viable now than it has been in a while, so not a bad time to bring it out, but yeah, meching it up is not something I usually expect to say when we've got a ByuN series on our hands. Obviously, he's going to be able to start Stim at the front as well, by the way, so he sells this as being Stim. This is all the scout information Solar has. Solar doesn't have an Overlord poking in the main base for a while. And yeah, just selling this on being Stim kind of invites Solar to build completely into the wrong thing and gives ByuN a real head start in playing into the mech without his opponent countering him. So that's actually a massive factor for the next little while, almost definitely. Marines push those lings back. A couple of Reapers continue through the center. Family Nest coming through. The few additional Zerglings are coming up as well. And we do have the Reapers just going to end up hopping up to the high ground. Still just trying to be annoying. At this point, the Reapers don't really have much value. You know, if nothing else, they're just kind of providing a way for ByuN to keep these lings interested. A couple of SCVs for some reason out in the middle of the map, and they are probably not going to have a good time. ByuN continues to rally SCVs the wrong way. That's 3 SCVs in the map. Now, these 2 might actually get a chance to escape at some point, but it'd be kind of incredible. He cancels Stim, by the way. So now making it look as though Stim is just finished. And Solar is completely clueless. Again, he did not commit the Overlord. And because Solar doesn't expect there to be SCVs on the map, they actually get to turn around past the lings and run home. And yeah, Solar's got no idea what's happening in the main base. He is so blind to the fact that this is mech. He is so blind. Well, Cyclone's gonna have their mag field, Hellions are gonna have their blue flame, and Solar's gonna have Zerglings. And Banelings, to be fair. I mean, he still only sees Marines around, starts Baneling speed. If I'm Solar, I don't even think about maybe going like Spire to overwhelm the mech with like some mutas or something, because I'm just thinking, how am I gonna play against the bio? And yeah, I mean, you still don't see it. Like, right now is going to be the first time we see the Hellions and the Cyclones, and Solar is going to be like, what the hell is that? Now, at this point, I think you're committed to playing Ling Bane. You could switch into Ling Bane Roach. I actually think I'd just like to see him drop the Spire and play Ling Bane Muta. It sounds ridiculous, but against Battle Mech, Ling Bane can actually be pretty okay, because it is a lot about just trading out and being able to trade well. He will drop the Roach Roaring, though. Maybe just the fact he doesn't have the Spy already started. He wasn't committed to it early, but I mean, this is rough. He's going to try and get us around here as the Cyclones and Hellions will kite away and trying to minimize some losses. Actually lose a lot of the Hellions, which gives the Cyclones a bit of a tougher time. The Lings obviously do pretty well against the Cyclones if the Cyclones are just on their own. It's the Hellion support that really deals with the Zerglings. Cyclones continue to lock on, Queens continue to take a lot of damage. Ling's going to run forward. I mean, the Marines are going to come support. Solo's like, no, not the Marines as well. They tricked me. They've already done so much against me this game. But they are going to be here just to be, I mean, as much of an attack as possible. At this point, Solo's lost a lot. 2.5k to 4k. And, well, first few Roaches are indeed on the way out. Maybe Roaches are the only way you hold this, just for the fact that you are so caught off guard. Maybe Ling Bane Mute is okay if you know you're playing against mech, but then if you just kind of comes out of nowhere, then yeah, just get some freaking Roaches out and try and do something, right? ByuN got a low score for build diversity on the Katowice card. That was one of the most ByuN was actually mad about this as well. I love that interview where he's like, man, this is really not fair. Like, I feel like I'm so creative. I do so many different things. Like, I don't feel like I can have, like, low build order mix-up. Like, he was genuinely upset. He's like, I think it's wrong. Is it my card? That's funny. I mean, these trades just continue, but these are not trades that are super pretty for Solo. I mean, as far as ByuN's concerned, he is getting a lot of value. It's now 3.7k to 6.6k. So that increases all. Will 2 Cyclones go down, bring this back to about a 2.5k difference in resources lost. ByuN, with all the map control in the world, drops the 4th base on location, so that's obviously a nice bonus too. As we move up here, we force the Ravagers to cancel. Couple more Cyclones about to go down, one of them very low HP. Just about getting the chance to turn back around again. ByuN seemed upset when Nartosis talked about it too. Well, that's probably because I think everyone kind of agreed that it just wasn't true. ByuN is a very creative player when it comes to builds. The thing is, like, sometimes I think ByuN does like find a couple of builds that works well for him, and he does them a lot. But you've also got to think about the fact that we just see ByuN playing so many events that when we see him do a build a lot, it's just because we see him play so much compared to some players as well, right? The little Hellion run by splits away to the side. 9 drones go down. And these few Zerglings are going to get wraparounds there to pick those Hellions off. So we'll take all that away, straight away now. And yeah. Can you do Battle Mech versus Terran and Protoss too? Not really. You can kind of do some Cyclone opens against Terran. I don't know how good they are now post-patch, really, compared to before. Like, it used to be good sometimes to go like 3-4 Cyclones and stuff, but that's not really Battle Mech. It just doesn't really work. Like Terran, and it works against Zerg because you're able to kite and trade so efficiently. You just can't find that same sort of value against Protoss. You can kind of sometimes play the Banshees in TVP though, and set up from there. That could be quite cool as ByuN continues to chase these units back across the map. Ravages, the Roach is getting shoved away here, and ByuN just in full-on chase mode. These couple of Balins will be going down. One Ravager gets picked off, and just again, even when Solo gets aggressive, it seems like ByuN has the answer at the moment. And the thing is, Solo's only on 75 drones, so ByuN actually has a very good economy currently against Solo too. I think that also goes a pretty huge distance toward helping at the moment. Cyclones killing off all the Roaches up on the top side. More Roach Ravager, Ling Bane coming through the south. And the few Hellions going to come back around the right. What does Battle Mech mean? It's basically like Hellions and Cyclones. And it's called Battle Mech. It's just a term that was made because you're basically going on the map and fighting all the time, compared to Mech, which is usually meant to be like Hellion tank and so on, is usually meant to just sit back and wait and defend. It's a much more aggressive version of Mech. So you actually, like, it's meant to be on the map fighting. If you're not on the map trading, kind of like with Bio, you're not in a good place. Because these units are meant to be on the map, getting lock-ons, kiting away, so you're creating a lot of battles. It's called Battle Mech. It's very fun. Honestly, it could have been called, like, Speed Mech or Active Mech, or I don't know. Battle Mech sounds cool, though. I think it was just, I feel like it was almost maybe a Taste Doses thing when Gumiho did it a lot in GSL. I think when I first heard of Battle Mech, but it's probably around then. call it Hot Wheels mech. Yeah, the Zerg players call it the killer cars as well, because right now these cars can just kill everything. 13 drones going down. Now, you know, I mean, casting this like ByuN's won, but he's not won, but I do like his position, because now he's transitioning into better mech while keeping his opponent. I say better mech. Battle mech is good, but overall battle mech is hard to end a game with. But what he's successfully done is he's making his way into more standardized mech, while his opponent is somewhat limited on his own tech. You know, Solar here is on what? I mean, Bling Roach, Ravager Bane, he's going to have a couple Vipers coming up. Usually if you play normal mech, the Zerg is in control of the trades, and the Zerg is in control of how the teching goes, and the Zerg is very free to tech up. By slowing the Zerg's tech down and getting to this point, you're in a much better position than usual, as we do lose the +2 vehicle weapons, which, funnily enough, is the worst upgrade here. Vehicle plating is better, generally, for the battle mech at least, because you're taking a lot more shots. A lot of the damage you're dealing with the Cyclone lock-ons, and they're not affected by the upgrade. The, you know, Cyclone auto attack's affected by the upgrade, but not the lock-on. I guess now that siege tanks are coming into play, the vehicle weapons is pretty important too, but if there was one to lose, maybe we still prefer it being the weapons for now. Currently chasing down these Ravagers around. A Ling's going to run in over here. As ByuN, well, he has the defenses for that, and again, you're just seeing that Solar doesn't really have the ability to rebuild, and this is what I was talking about as well, with Solar having control and picking the fights. This is a situation where, because Solar's not being able to pick the fights, he's also never had the economy be comfortable for him. With this kind of trading, generally Solar needs to have been ahead in workers, and he's not been ahead in income in this game, really. Like 5 minutes ago, he had some leads. Over the last 4 minutes, nuh-uh, not at all. And that's the issue, and that's why he's going to struggle to rebuild. And now ByuN can push onto the map, and yeah, ByuN looking very good with the battle mech and style. Coming down here, getting some lock-ons. Baneling goes down, the Vipers will come hunting, looking to see what they can do. Blinding Cloud's going down across a few of these siege tanks. Banelings are crashing in. GG is called. And that is going to be ByuN tapping out and call... sorry, not ByuN. It's Solar tapping out and calling ByuN the victor of this series. ByuN going to get the win. ByuN going to get the W. And it's going to take a 2-1 victory on his first match of the Korean Royale. Rough first day for Solar. Losing